Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today I got some very immersive mods. Some are pretty popular already, but some I expect to get popular, but most of these are mostly underrated, but still deserve a chance to shine in my opinion. And I know you guys will love most of them, so if you end up maybe considering or downloading one of these mods, make sure to hit that like button down below. But if you end up liking two of them, I think a subscribe is fair, if you're feeling generous. But either way, let's dive right in because like I said, I want to keep this short and sweet, and I know you guys will enjoy it. Oh, and also make sure you endorse mod authors. First mod up today overhauls the White River Watch, but this time in a massive way without destroying your FPS. This mod is called Watchman's White River Watch. This overhaul, unlike others, completely overhauls the exterior of the bandit camp, turning it from a camp into a small fort with more hand-placed enemies. But not so many that you get overwhelmed, but it will definitely up the difficulty a little bit. But the best part about this mod isn't even the exterior changes, it's definitely the interior changes, because this mod completely changes up the interior to reflect that status of basically overhauling it to become a bandit fort. Watchman completely expanded on this place. It even has a Lux patch that's currently being worked on as I speak, but with this mod being so new, I expect a lot of updates, so that Lux patch will also need a few fixes. But me personally, I didn't receive any bugs with this mod, so I highly recommend downloading this. But up next, a new armor mod called Chaosrunner. This mod is probably one of the ones you guys would say isn't so immersive, but honestly, I just say look at Arena or Forsworn armor. But this adds a new multicolor light armor that comes with about 5 pieces to each color set. This does support 3BA and B-Hump already out the gate. You can pick which one you want to download, but you do have to build your body slide before joining the game, or you're going to be invisible, which is also pretty fun. It's also the armor I'm using on the thumbnail, but you guys probably focus more on the face part if I'm right. This armor does feature support for SMP, so the cloak will move when your character moves. The cloak also has the option for no hair, but I'm using the hair option because being bald doesn't really fit Yennefer. But all bias aside, let me know what you guys think about this armor. I personally like it though. Up next we have a new children replacer. This mod is called High Poly Children. Even though it is called that, it doesn't require high poly head, fortunately. But this mod does overhaul every named vanilla child in Skyrim. They all look completely different now. It's gonna be pretty hard for those who don't know the voice lines to name them by heart, but honestly it kinda makes sense considering in vanilla Skyrim they all had potato faces. Now I'm not gonna say this mod is perfect because the faces the way that they look, they will cause controversy, but from the downloads already on Nexus, I assume a lot of people like this. This mod also gives new clothing to the children, kinda similar to Prince and Pauper, so you will see them wearing a little more fancy clothing. But that's 100% optional, you can choose when installing the mod. Up next, more environmental mods, and the first mod up is Whiterun Hold Secondary Locations. This mod overhauls the unmarked tundra locations, making them actually seem cared about. For those using northern roads, this unfortunately doesn't have a patch for that yet because of how new it is and how underrated it is, but hopefully this video gives it some spotlight because this mod is something we love to see in Skyrim. Everyone loves to kind of overhaul the same locations, leading you to just have a hard choice of what you want to have. So it's nice to kind of see the unmarked locations in Skyrim getting a bit of a lore friendly overhaul. And the reason why I kind of say lore friendly is because this isn't a massive overhaul for every location. It isn't going to destroy your FPS. Most of the changes are kind of small, but you're definitely going to notice them. Watchman is working on multiple new projects. I'm not going to feature them all in this video, but for sure his projects are all quality work. Just patches might not come from him, they'll have to come from third parties unfortunately. But for sure, considering I don't use northern roads, this is already perfect for me. This is like the next mod called Bleakwind Basin. Honestly, this one is similar to Ryan's Bleakwind Basin, but less of the extra stuff that makes it incompatible with most mods. This mod does add ruins around the giant camp. It doesn't add any new giants though, so the location isn't going to be harder than vanilla, but it does make the place actually seem like their home. What's cool about this mod though is based on the items in the camp. This was a bandits camp before the giants took it over, and I guess it kind of makes sense considering how many bandits are in the tundra. It's kind of crazy that Jarl Balgruuf is kind of just letting that happen in his kingdom, to be honest. Up next we have a new mod bringing us to Rorikstead, but for an overhaul to Rorik's Manor. This mod is called Snazzy Interiors, Rorik Manor. So yeah, this is an expansion on the Snazzy Interior series, which also means it's time to reinstall that patch collection again, unfortunately. But this mod doesn't change up the layout of the manor, but It changes the interior so much that it feels brand new, such as adding new clutter to the home and an actual bar for him to drink at. That's kind of what I want in my home. Even though I don't really drink, it's really the thought that counts. I've been loving the Snazzy interior series. I can't wait to see what comes next because this one is also quality work, especially with all the patches that came out with this mod. Up next, a super simple mod called Skog's Nordic Tent. This mod overhauls the small Nordic tents and also the big Nordic tents in Skyrim. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought they were all Imperial once they passed a certain size. This overhaul definitely makes sense though. For people who grew up in Skyrim, code really isn't much of a problem, so it kinda makes sense that they would just make small wooden tents made up of whatever they could find laying around. This mod does have options at installation though. You can choose to remove the green from the tent or the cover and just have it as complete sticks if you want that. This doesn't touch Imperial tents though, only Stormcloak tents and regular tents that you find across Skyrim. I honestly might keep this just for the fun of it. Up next, because I had to put this far into the video to avoid censor, we have the mod I missed, Dismembering Framework. I had to turn off reading certain clips to avoid censor from YouTube showing so much blood. But this mod allows for you to dynamically and easily dismember enemies while they are still alive, or even after they die. This mod uses precision to do it, so where you attack is where the dismemberment will happen, so it can be on the arms, the head, or even the leg. I haven't cut anyone in half, so I'm not sure that's possible because I haven't seen it on the mod page, but what I have noticed is that most of the dismemberment happens to be beheading because most attack modern combat overhaul animations aim for the head, but you can quite literally behead multiple enemies at one time if you get lucky enough, or you can just turn the settings up to the max so you always get some type of dismemberment. This framework with this add-ons, which is 100% needed by the way, it's not an optional, allow for you to dismember vanilla creatures and bandits, so you could really walk around dismembering anything. But I decided to keep this about humanoids to avoid using animals in my video. That's my personal preference. So that's why you'll see me kill a bunch of draugrs and snow elves. But for the people that do want to dismember an animal, that is also possible with this mod now. Vanilla animals, of course. You could honestly just install this and jump straight in with no extra preparation, but there is a highly configurable MCM, but like I said, when you first install this, everything will be pretty much set up perfectly fine, so this could potentially be a plug and play if you know what you're doing in terms of modding Skyrim. But for the people wanting to literally always decapitate or dismember something, or maybe even lower the chances, you can just do so simply in the MCM. There are a lot of options in the MCM. This was about 2 minutes, but I had to shorten it just so I could do the showcase. And with this mod coming out, it's definitely winning mod of the month. And now we got a new dungeon mod called Ancient Falmer Ruins. This mod has new dungeons and also new ruins outside of those dungeons that you can explore. For now it's only a few because this mod quite literally just came out about a day ago and will be expanded on as time goes on. The only unfortunate part about this mod though is that because it just came out, there is no Lux patch yet, so lighting might be a little weird compared to other dungeons that you have. But making a Lux patch is fortunately easy to make, just a little tedious. And if I'm being honest, the best part about this mod though, in my opinion, is really the immersion that this mod adds to my Skyrim just by adding ruins around the place. I'm not entirely sure how lore friendly this is because I'm not an Elder Scrolls lore fanatic, but I do love to learn about it, and I would expect snow elf ruins to at least be a bit more prevalent in Skyrim. And as you can see, this does use Mihaw's snow elves, which makes sense considering they use Falmers and the dead snow elves. Honestly, the layout of these dungeons though kind of reminds me of a Souls-like game, but the enemies aren't that tough, it's just the placement of them can lead you to being overwhelmed quite easily if you're not overpowered or have a great party with you. Even if you decide not to download this mod, this is definitely one of the mods you're at least going to want to keep track of as it makes advancements and changes. But if I'm allowed to inject my opinion, I would love a version of this without the dungeons and just give me the exterior changes made by this mod. But I doubt we'll get that. But what we do have is a new barrel mod called Immersive Barrels. I forgot to showcase this a little bit ago, but this mod overhauls barrels in Skyrim in a lore friendly way, but in a way that also gives some diversity based on the items actually inside of the barrel. So empty barrels placed by mods, just as static or even just ones already looted, will look destroyed, or just the top will not be on them, so you'll know that it's already pretty much empty. So you won't bother trying to loot them and wasting time, especially if you don't use quick loot like me. This next one though is an absolute must have for me. This mod is called Left Hand Revised Markarth Mines Overhaul. Overhauling the mine left of Markarth when you leave the city with new ruins that match the main city. Especially if you have Markarth Outskirts by GG, and maybe city entrance fixed like me. This mod goes so well with them. And with it being so compatible friendly and also having patches, I'm surprised that it's so underrated, because it didn't even harm my FPS either. Even though it looks like it might hurt a lot with all the additions it makes, it really didn't touch my FPS. There's always mods like this I'm excited to find. Some mods just go underrated because the mod author is also underrated, so let's hope this video fixed that. But that was it for today's video, guys. Let me know which one was your favorite of this, but on your way down there, make sure to hit that like button, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace and love, guys.